Hello my scrappy friends, and a big welcome to my YouTube channel again today. It is Melinda with you, and I have another share for Tracy Reed Designs. I really hope you guys are enjoying all this content. I have been non-stop creating, voiceovering, editing videos on top of extra hours at work, so um, my brain is a little bit mush at the moment. I apologise in advance if my voiceover doesn't make a great deal of sense. It is oldies but goodies day today, and we are playing with the Aflutter collection, and I decided I was going to use what I had printed and create 4 cards. So I've started here with one of the Traveller's Notebook papers, which is one of the plain colours, and I have die cut that using one of my rectangle dies with, for a card front. And I am using one of the colours that I had swatched out, and I can't remember, I did show earlier, I can't remember which Distress Oxide colour it is, and this stencil, which is super fun. It is one that you can flip over and you can get a couple of different looks. I have done one layer with that pink. I decided I would see if I could get enough coverage with the leftover ink on my brush, so that's what I'm doing here. But I was like, nope, I need a bit more. But this second layer I am doing a little bit lighter, so you get that kind of two-tone on the pink, which is super fun. I really love it. I am going to say right now, I don't know what I've done with the footage, but somehow I have missed a bunch of footage. I don't know if I didn't record it, I don't know what happened. I think I forgot to press record, I'll be honest with you. But I will go through it with as much detail as I can. I wanted to add some black splatters because there is some black in this collection, and I feel like it's a really nice, I really like the, I forgot the word, the contrast of the black to the light pink. So I'm going to pop that aside. While I've got that puddle of black paint there, I thought I would work out what else I wanted to use that for. So I've got this beautiful wood grain rainbow stripe here that I'm going to create a slimline card with. So you can see I've just cut that down to the right size, and I'm going in again with black splatters. Love this so much. I love this pattern. It's one of my favorites from this collection. So super excited when I saw that I have one. For this one, I am going to create another slimline card. So I'm just going through my Traveller's Notebook papers here. I knew I wanted to use that butterfly print, and I'm looking through for another print that I can use. I really like that pink, but I was like, I've already got another pink card. Let me see what else I can find. So I pulled out this one with the flowers and the mushrooms. It's super, super cute. So I thought I would do my die cutting with that. Again, I'm just going to trim down the front panel here and add some black splatters to this as well. Now, this card I had a few hiccups with. So it goes from being this. My original idea was I was going to layer up the sentiment, pop that on top, and call it done. But this ends up becoming a spinner card, which is super fun, and I really love it. Wasn't what I planned, and like I said, I don't know how or what I did, but the footage I cannot find. So here I am cutting my sentiment from this. I've just got a piece of scrap paper there to make sure that I don't leave marks on my pen paper. You can see I've cut that there. I'm going to cut a couple of extras from some scrap cardstock as well, which I'm then going to use as layers behind another card panel. I don't think I make you watch all of that, but you can see here I'm just going to run that through and cut extra layers. Here I'm just showing you how I'm using scraps for layers. I've told you before that I use our old calendars. They make fantastic layers. They're not super thick, but they are sturdy. This is what I die cut from. No one is ever going to know. So then I'm going to lay that one in between, and then I'm going to layer another one of the full sheets behind that, and I've got some dimension. Works perfectly. I love it. And I love that I'm not throwing so much stuff in the bin. Alright, pop that one aside to make sure it's all adhered nice and flat. I'm going to work on stacking up my die cuts, I think. Yes, so I've got this Project Life page protector box here that I just chuck in some scrap paper, and I've laid all my die cuts in there. I'm going to show you that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to spray that and then stick those together with the spray adhesive. I decided to do some letterpress. Now, don't do what I did. Make sure you think this through properly before you put something where you don't want it. I'm not unhappy with how it worked out. It is not what I had planned though. So you can see there, I'm trying to get the hello to the bottom right hand corner of this piece of paper. Now, if you've used the letterpress system, you know straight away I've messed this up, but it's all good. I make it work in the end. So flip it over, because I realised at this point that it was in the wrong place, but I never realised that I had my paper in the wrong place. So that's okay. Like I said, it's not the end of the world. I make it work, and I'm really happy with the end result. But do learn from my mistake. Now, this paper that I've printed the pattern papers onto is really, really thin, so I'm just adding a couple of extra pieces of that scrap cardstock just so that there's enough height here. So I'm just adding them as extra shims to make sure this letterpresses properly. Inking that up, you can see I'm twisting and tapping, and then I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. And it letterpresses beautifully. It does letterpress beautifully, just in the wrong place. More, I actually wanted so it was in the right, like on the right hand end, but it's all good. I make it work. My next card, I love this stamp so much. A beautiful friend of mine has lent it to me months ago, and I keep using it, so I don't think she's ever getting it back. But no, obviously as soon as she wants it back, I'll give it back to her. I wanted to add a little bit of texture to this background. Again, this is one of the Traveler's Notebook plain papers from the collection, and I'm just going to stamp with some white pigment ink for some interest on my background. Because it is pigment ink, it takes a little while to dry, so I'm going to pop that aside and let it dry. I'm going to, so you can see this video is kind of a bit all over the place. I'm like working on one bit, letting it dry, working on something else, letting it dry, maybe going back to the first bit and then working on the fourth bit. But it does all come together in the end. I just found that this way I wasn't sitting around waiting for things. I was able to continue working, which helped me get all of these cards created. I think it took me about an hour and a half to 2 hours to do all four. And that's including the muck around with this card, but that's okay. So this one here, I was going to letterpress, but I decided to use hot foil. So I hot foiled a leaf. It's a Pink Fresh Studio hot foil plate with some matte gold foil onto that blue panel, and then I cut that down smaller so I had a nice white border on my card. I've added a butterfly and some matte gold pearls as well from Pink Fresh Studio. This card here, you can see, I ended up making it work. I've cut a hole in the middle, I cut a frame from the matte gold cardstock, and here I'm just adding this holographic sticker. So because it's got that big hole in the front panel, there's nowhere to write a message. So I've got a second slimline card that I'm going to stick on the inside, and you'll see when it's all stuck together it sits like a Z almost. But I'm just going to stick this behind. This particular butterfly die came with the greeting, so I've cut that from clear holographic sticker paper, and I'm just sticking that on, burnishing it down to make sure it stays stuck. The other card in between, the pink one that I did the stencil work on, I got a bunch of the floral die cuts from the collection that I had printed out, and I laid those out along the background, and I basically just started with the biggest florals and then worked my way down to the smaller ones, and just stuck those down to fill up that background. You can still see some of the stenciling in the background, some of the black splatter as well. I've then made that into a full card front shaker pocket, just with a plastic sleeve that I had here, and filled that with some clear sequins, added a tag from the collection with some really dark blue twine, which I've tied into a double, like into 2 bows on the top, and stuck that to the plastic on the outside. So that is that card. Here I am sticking the second card onto this one with the spinner element. With the spinner element, I have just laid a piece of white thread from the top of the window to the bottom of the window, and then there we go, and then stuck the die cut into the middle of that. It is a little bit tricky to twist because it is not exactly symmetrical, so it kind of tilts and gets caught a little bit, but when I'm careful it spins really well. I wanted to add a little bit of something. There was so much card here, I was like, I'm just going to add a little bit of extra. So I'm going to use these little mushrooms, which are adorable. These mushrooms are from the embellishments in the Aflutter collection. And then I think the butterfly that I stick down is also from the embellishments, because it's one of the big ones, I think. Yeah. I just went with the pink and the yellow there as well, because I thought that was a good match. I'm just using my little silicone mat here, because then like the glue doesn't stick to anything and it just sticks to the die cut, which is awesome. Stick that one down. Trim off the edge. There you go. And so this is a neat trick that I wanted to make sure I shared with you. Using your scoring tool or your MISTI, whatever you've got that has a corner like this, you can line up your card base right in the corner, and then if you've got a card front that covers the whole card, you can just line it all up in the corner of that tool and get it to line up perfectly. I'm just going to show you each of those cards. I love the way they turned out. I know I'm missing a big chunk of footage. I don't know what I did. If you do have any questions, please make sure you drop them below. I'm more than happy to give you some more pointers or tell you what I did. So you can see here, I'm just making this one spin for you. So you can see I'm just being really careful there, because it does want to get stuck on between the I and the F. As soon as it comes out of the envelope and someone opens it, it will spin. So there we go. Give it a bit of a nudge. And there we go. Turned out really well in the end. I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I do think though that my favourite one is the blue one, which, so I've added a butterfly here and another little sentiment. It says thinking of you, and then this one says smile, it's your birthday. So that is the 4 cards that I created using the Aflutter collection. I've got close-ups of each of them. I really hope that you've enjoyed this share again today. Like I said, if you have any questions, please make sure you drop them below. Yeah, I hope that you're enjoying all these shares. I know I'm exhausted, but that's okay. I've had lots of fun creating. Thank you ever so much for choosing to spend your scrappy time with me, and I will see you in my next video.